anytime I am about to move, whether I realize it or not, there are things that I get the intuitive nudges to start doing, both as a practicing witch and even before I truly started practicing my witchcraft. I would still listen to my intuition, but looking back now, there's a very visible pattern that I can see, because hindsight is 2020, of the things that happen before I'm about to make a big move, whether I've realized it or not. And the number one thing is I get the urge to get rid of things. Now, sometimes this comes along with seasons. Right now, at the time of filming it, it's spring. We just had our first day of spring, and a lot of people are doing this, spring cleaning and getting rid of some things that they don't need anymore. But for me, I get this big push to get rid of pretty much anything I don't need. And sometimes I know that I want to move before that nudge comes, and I might not realize the circumstances around that. Other times, I don't even realize I'm getting ready to move until I suddenly happen to move after I've, gotten rid of 5 boxes of things. And I just love that my intuition speaks to me in this way. Currently, in my present circumstances, we have a living situation that isn't great, and we're making the best of it. But we also have our front room, which is also my office and art studio. It has a lot of things from my partner's grandma storage unit that we just really don't need. And over the last month or two, I've really been getting the push to move and to get rid of a lot of these things. And I've been chipping away at that. But I find the longer it goes on, the stronger that urge is. And I see this as a way of not wanting to bring things that I don't need, clutter, and things that just, need to be cleared out, into a new space that I am moving into. Now, do I know at present what that new space is going to be? No, but I'm excited to see where that takes me. I can see this pattern going back, at least all the way back to my just after college days, so at least a decade, where at that point I had finally unpacked the last box yet to be unpacked after I'd been living in this place for a year. And 3 days later, my friend and roommate was like, hey, do you want to move to a completely different town with us and have a whole basement to yourself? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, 100%, let's do it. And so I was slightly disappointed. I was like, I just finished unpacking. But I was very proud of myself for doing that. And in the unpacking process, even then, I had gotten rid of a lot of things I no longer needed, which is always amazing. These days, I'm more aware of what that urge means, that it's that time to clear things. But there are other signs that like to show up too. A way that my guides and my, spirit team likes to communicate with me is through music, because I love music, I love singing. And one of the songs that always pops in my head about a month or two before I move is, what's it called? I think it's Funky Town. Gotta make a move to a town that's right for me. Gotta keep it moving, keep it grooving. I don't know all words, but that song it'll get stuck in my head and just play on repeat. Oh, I talk about moving. The last 2 times I've moved, actually, that song was playing in my head constantly for about a month before I moved, and it's recently been making a reappearance. Though, side note, that song also makes me think of Shrek 2, or was that Shrek 3? I don't know. One of the Shrek movies, they played that song. And I do enjoy it. But that is my, biggest association with that song, other than now moving. And one other little witchy thing that I have always carried with me, not necessarily a sign that it's time to move, but more of a tradition, old wives' tale, is that you don't bring old dirt to the new house. So for me, anytime I move somewhere new, I get a new broom because I don't want to bring all that old dirt that I've been sweeping up, sweeping away, clearing, and things like that from an old place that my energy is no longer serving me to a new place. And I feel like that kind of premise is very similar to why I always find the urge to get rid of things that, again, I don't want to hold on to. I don't want to live a life where I am carrying so much that I do not need anymore. Growing up, we moved quite a lot. By the time I hit 30, I had lived in over 40 houses, might have been 50. And that is a lot for any given person. Growing up as a young kid, we did move around a lot, and unfortunately, in my late teens and 20s, that pattern continued, whether it was something I was looking for or not. But when I think about the energetics of moving, a lot of times it feels like I'm in a place because there's a certain energy that needs to be moved, whether it is in myself or whether it is in the people around me. I notice that when I am somewhere and I am present and I am connecting, there are shifts that I like to see as the positive. Say a neighbor standing up to a toxic landlord, or somebody realizing something about themselves and moving through with a decision that they had been struggling with. And while I don't think that is necessarily because of me, I think as somebody who is constantly existing in the liminal space, constantly existing in a state of change and ever shifting and ever moving, it just goes to show that I'm also not the only one who goes through that. And when there's a high concentration of a certain type of energy in a specific place, it is my understanding that that energy, depending what it is, it spreads out. It's the same mentality of how meditating, or a large group of people meditating in a place, can actually change how, things are in that town, even for a short time. Like crime rates can go down and things like that, which is fascinating. It's a topic I really, really do love. But I find that as I pour a lot of energy into this liminal space that I am constantly existing in, it almost sometimes serves as like a permission slip for other people to exist in that liminal space. And it's not that they can't do it on their own, because of course we absolutely all can, but being in a liminal space and a place where you are constantly in change, it can be difficult, or just moving through change in general, and having someone who is also going through that or something similar, or is just more familiar with that, can serve as a permission slip or a way to feel less alone. And I feel like I'm kind of digressing from the original point of this video, but looking back at how frequently I moved, as much as I disliked it, trying to see it through a positive lens, not to take away from the negative aspects of it, but because there are two sides to every coin, it does help me feel better, and it does give me that insight moving forward that allows me to release living in a specific space or home a little bit easier, because looking back, I can see how that pattern has repeated for me over and over again. And while I might not have the full picture of things in this moment, I know, following my intuition, following the nudges I'm receiving, following the patterns and the stories and the cycles that repeat, that it can serve a purpose, and that does help with that transition. I am somebody who, I as much as I love change, I do struggle with it at times. And moving was always one of those big ones for me. But when I release that need to hold on and be tethered so tightly to a specific place, that does also help and make it easier to let go and move forward with whatever it is that I am doing. So yeah, if you are a witch, or you practice, you get intuitive nudges that are signs that you're about to have a big move, I would love to hear it in the comments. Part of the reason I really do like talking about this is because I learn through other people's experiences. I take insights from their insights, and sometimes I see myself in those people. I see myself in those circumstances, and people talking about said circumstances allows me to recognize that same pattern or loop in my own life. And that's a lot of what I'm really trying to transition this YouTube channel into, is telling my stories and talking about my experiences and my journey, because it's how I learn, and I know it's how other people learn as well. So I truly hope that you did take something from this. If you enjoyed this, I would love if you subscribe and support my growing YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I am grateful for you, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you in the next video.